All right, folks, good afternoon and welcome on back here. We're continuing along our lovely Tuesday here. June 14th, shortly after 2:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Great to see Leda, great to see Andrea, loud and clear from them, I assume, and great to see all of us otherwise inside the live trading room. And right back to it for all of us on social media, Facebook Live and YouTube. For anyone that had joined me live in our Traders Talk workshop earlier this morning, I don't have as fresh of a motor as I had from the morning, so we're going to try and get through this meeting pretty quickly. It's been a lot of talking, not just today, but yesterday, this whole week to begin. But I appreciate you sticking with me from earlier today. For all of us on social media, we did our Traders Talk workshop, which we normally exclusively do inside the Cybergroup trading room. Maybe 2 or 3, 4 times across the calendar year, we try and get it out to you on social media sporadically, kind of just like unplanned. So from last week, I was thinking, all right, well, you know what, we'll do it for today, for this upcoming week. If you wanted to join us inside our live trading room to continue along and join us every week, every day, and attend those Traders Talk workshops and get access to the past recordings, just go right down to the link on the yellow banner below right there to get yourself started for a small trial. The market's been really flat today, folks. I mean, Fed meeting heading into today, into tomorrow. So we weren't expecting a whole lot to really happen. If anything, perhaps, small dead cat bounce, and you know what's going to happen when the volume dies off on that dead cat bounce. That was the whole premise to the morning meeting that I did earlier today. So with that, hey, market slumped off at first, and then we had a small little bounce here, at least heading into the early afternoon with the S&P, the SPY, and then, well, obviously, like I said, once the volume dies off, I don't have the volume graph up for the SPY, but when the volume dies off, this is going to drag right back down and resume original direction. So with that, it wouldn't shock me to see another big break heading into the close. We talked about this yesterday with the full S&P graph that I showed back, over the last 50, 60 years. So, we actually clipped that part out also and put that up on our YouTube channel. Just go right to our recent videos there, and you'll see exactly what I'm referring to, the S&P technical analysis charting video that I just came out with yesterday. There's definitely a lot more room on the downside in terms of that. So, no shock to see the SPY and, everything else drag back down. One pretty important lesson, at least, is that not everything is going to go with the market. So we'll find some shorts to work with. But, for right now, CMRA, it's actually making a pretty strong bounce heading into the early afternoon here. Ended up running from the late morning from like 150 up close to 450. What comes up comes right back down. And normally after that, it'll make a small second wind type of move. And then from there, it typically consolidates or it snaps right back down and tanks. So be careful on this trade still. I feel like that could easily happen coming up here. I don't want to wish that into existence here, but it's really tradable. So for right now, we'll put this on our list here, the CMRA. For right now, come back to it at the end if it completely tanks. Then perhaps we write it off, but it looks good for right now. So, hopefully this makes, higher lows, the push up and over 350, and then we'll see where it goes from that point, perhaps. All right, so with that in mind, what we'll do is go just right across the percent gainers and losers lists here. The Cosm trade, geez, this thing was a disaster. I mean, it was a gamble stock from the get-go, not because it was illiquid. It was really liquid, cheap stock, it should be. But it's just to say that when this stock initially popped and ran and got halted at first, it gave us no room to try and jump in on this trade after. So, for every time it reopened up, it got halted. Every time it reopened up, it got halted. So, I think one of our students, Robert, got a few cents on it from like 119. All right, there was like one glimpse where it held support. He was able to pluck it. Awesome. But otherwise, after that very instance, if anything, it's more of a gamble stock than anything. For as much as it halted up, it's going to happen. Come on. It's going to happen. It's going to get halted on the way down, and if it doesn't get halted on the way down, then it's just going to crash. And, well, this did both. This got halted on the way down. It actually had one, more little up to it, but then it completely collapsed. So right back down it goes here, the Cosm trade. Yeah, I don't know. Just we see this happen all the time. It's the danger of trying to hold on to a position throughout the morning into the afternoon, especially when the volume dies off. All right, so the Pixie trade, same thing. Not a whole lot really to talk about on that. Captain CPTN, Captain Crunch. I don't know. Just pretty flat for right now. So, I don't know. Maybe some point tomorrow and next week, who knows? Or a sideless stock, maybe. All right, so we'll keep it kind of going here. I'll kind of skim through. I mean, there should be more on the loser side here heading into the afternoon than anything, but there are some good stocks that are on the gainers list still. I mean, EDU, late Ed asked about earlier with a short squeeze, perhaps. It's been the case over the last several days, the last week and a half, 2 weeks, really. Um, the issue I have on this trade, you would like to think there's no issue on the stock, but the issue I have on this trade is simply like it's more of a grinding type of run up. So it has good liquidity, tight spread, all of that checks out. But the last 3 hours, 2.5, 3 hours, it's been flat. Hopefully this makes the type of pop that we, normally look to see here at this time of the day. So, definitely for right now, I'll put it on our list. Doesn't hurt us to put this on our list at all. If anything, it hurts us to not put it on our list, for right now. So, just it's exactly where you would want to see it. For as much as this stock took a huge gap down from back in like, last year, July, August of last year, you definitely look for the short squeeze. And, I don't know if it's going to look to try and fill said gap. You hope to see it happen. But, with where it stands here heading into the afternoon, it's a good call. All right. You knew I wouldn't have gone too long without talking about my lovely Neo, right? I wish I could tell you I capitalized on this trade a lot more than I really did. So, Neo, I ended up missing the original run up on the trade. I ended up getting in later on off of 1735, 1734 level. I think 35 was my price. And then from there, it was a pretty decent trade, but I still left money on the table. This thing just kept giving where the markets were really just like kind of grinding lower, grinding lower. Neo is a Chinese based company and, Chinese EV company at that. So if it's not going to be a reflection of the SPY, I mean, here's just a major Chinese ETF, bullish ETF. Yeah, and it's one of many that you could look to follow. But I mean, little move up today, nothing too special. And the gap up early this morning, so that's why a lot of the Chinese stocks were up in pre-market. But nonetheless, though, I mean, this chart is beautiful. Beautiful move on the way up. It ended up just breaking up and above 1880. That was actually a key level I was just looking to get in from a moment ago. I'm not in this right now. I wish I could send in, but it looks pretty good still. And if we happen to get like a freakish bounce back up in the market across the next 60, 70 minutes, then perhaps we can get that extra jolt that we would see, for all these major companies like Neo and the other sideless stocks. But yeah, Neo definitely looks great. So far though, I mean, EDU is a Chinese stock too. EDU, Neo, IQ here. IQ is pretty flat. Not a whole lot really happening on this one right now. GOTUs in the same business as EDU. These are these Chinese education-based companies. I know the Chinese government ended up making them look to go nonprofit back last year. That's what led to that huge gap down or drop off. This type of gap downs you typically tend to remember over time, especially if you trade the same stock over and over for a period of time. LI, another Chinese EV company similar to Neo. We had this, I believe, on the pre-market watch list nonetheless. It's moving up pretty nicely. I mean, it's a grinding type of move. Neo is actually a lot better. That's not just my, bias to Neo, but it's just to say, I mean, you look at the chart, one provided a lot more opportunity than another. And it's not just in terms of like percent change wise, but Neo is a prettier trend. For right now, it doesn't hurt us to put LI on the list too, to tag alongside Neo. But I think there was news out on LI this morning, not exactly Neo. I could be wrong on that, but I thought LI was the more active one in pre, which was pretty interesting. All right. Are we going to catch it here or what? I mean, I saw it just completely crash and burn just earlier before we started this meeting. It was number 2 on the gainers list. Oh, here we go. Didn't fall too far. But I just want to show it really briefly because we left off on it in our Traders Talk workshop, right? The REV trade. So if you're joining this afternoon meeting right now, coming off our Traders Talk workshop that we did on YouTube and Facebook Live, and of course inside the live trading room, this is the exact same chart that we had lined up, charted up here. And it's to say that we ended up seeing one of these big halt prints at 267 when this ended up getting halted and reopened up off the halt. Well, 267 was the key level. And from there, once it snapped under it and shook off it, well, it acted as a major resistance the whole way through. And from there, I mean, obviously the rest is history, but it just goes to show you need to be prepared in order to follow a stock, right? In order to trade a stock, you got to know its levels. So with this, there was a few levels at least, but 312 was a key iceberg level that we had from just the market open throughout the morning, pre-market actually. When it got halted, we saw a big iceberg on the ask at 312. So that actually ended up acting as the high of the day price pretty much. Well, from there it came down and held that 267 print line as major resistance, and from there was no looking back. I thought it was going to make a test down to 2 and hold at least here at first, but no go. I was like gunning for this support hold here. I didn't trade it because the second it broke it, it held under it right back down. So you hope to see it hold, just it never held as support at least. All right, so let's see what else we got here on the gainer side. We might have to flip over to the losers list here pretty soon because not a whole lot remaining here so far. You got PDD, Billy, these other Chinese companies, I believe. Pretty good day from PDD. Nice push up earlier this morning. Pretty liquid for like a $60 stock. Good side list stock. Same with Billy. Billy's pretty flat though for right now. All right, so folks, let's hop over to the losers list. From there, I'll catch the chat board just here at the end for all of us inside the live trading room, all of us on YouTube. I'll just look at the comments here at the end. Whole bunch of crap hard to borrow to begin, as I always like to phrase it. I mean, really, every single stock on my TradeStation platform here is hard to borrow. That doesn't mean I'm going to skip over every single one, but TradeStation's all right with short inventory. I know Interactive Brokers is the best with it, but TradeStation's all right. So I feel like if all of these are hard to borrow, I'm likely not to get shares on the vast majority of them, even if I request shares. UNG is an ETF, so cold we had on the morning watch list, I believe, or it popped after we had finished up the morning watch list, I think. But nonetheless, cold ended up bottoming out just earlier. Myself and one of our students, Jeff, we were really looking for cold to continue to drop off and UNG to make a nice squeeze up respectfully. So I ended up just playing this, getting stopped out, break even, -3, break even, like 4 times in a row. It was pretty annoying, but that's basically what I was doing throughout the early afternoon. If you're wondering, if you're wondering what I was up to, it was on this. I was private chatting one of our students, Jeff B, and we were looking for this move. I think Jeff's short on cold from a higher price, but I was like looking for the squeeze like more recently off this resistance. At first, it was looking good, but wanted a lot more, and just at the time didn't get it. So maybe that could be happening later on this afternoon, but I'm not. I'm likely going to move on. Kind of wasting my time, unfortunately. It's a volatile ETF. Could have been worth my time, just wasn't there. So, all right, SPY's approaching the low of the day right now again. So, look at this EQT. So I think this is a gas company, if I'm not mistaken. Correct me if I'm wrong, if anyone knows, but I believe EQT is one of these natural gas-based companies because this and KMI, I remember myself, Bill, and Michael D inside our live trading room are talking about this like last week. And I mean, KMI is only down 1%. This thing is like tradable, but nothing really too much to write home about there. The EQT trade, though, is down a lot more percentage-wise. It just seems like it could be like a more advantageous trade to follow as a short. So I don't mind adding this to our list. Looks good. SWN, another energy company on the way down right now. So if I add the EQT, I got to add this thing. This looks really sharp on the way down. Very liquid, too. So SWN looks great. I know Oxy is petroleum, but I just want to take a look. It's just dropping off. Good side list stock here, Oxy. All right, so from Carol and John here inside the live trading room, AUVI looks really good. Nice pop just now. This thing was actually pushing up going into the beginning of like 2 o'clock. I wasn't as focused on this at the time. Geez, this one's throwing me off. So AUVI looks great. Appreciate the shout. And let's see here. You have a 21,000 share order on the ask at 350. Then from there, basically same size order, a little bit more at 4. All right. So, folks, anything else that looks good? From RJF on YouTube, Dawn. Take a look at Dawn here pretty quick. Donut's up like 4.7%. It is like kind of holding there, right? It's like just like teasing us. Looks like this wants to make some sort of big move. And furthermore, it's like still kind of near the highs from yesterday. 1494 is the high from yesterday. No, pardon me, that's the open from yesterday. 1590. It's been a long beginning of the week. 1590 is the high from yesterday, so it's still holding under there, holding under 16. It's a good setup. I mean, it's hard to not follow this, right? I'll put this on our list. I like the others a little bit more just because they're showing better direction for right now, but it's a great setup to follow. I appreciate this. Good call on the Dawn trade from RJF. All right, I think that's just about it, folks. For right now, I mean, hey, markets are pretty much at the lows, so it's going to be fine. It's going to be hard to try and find as much on the way up here. I'll tell you, though, I mean, NEO is still kind of holding relatively strong. It's on our list for a reason. Obviously, the Dawn trade looks interesting. The AUVI trade looks great. EDU looks great on the way up. So there are some, but don't try and like force it out there. The markets still are trending down. So, just see what we can get from this list first. Then from that point, after 3 o'clock for all of us live inside the trading room, when Rich comes on the mic and does his audio, then we'll look to rescan the market at that point if there's anything else moving a lot better. All right, that's all. All right, folks. So that's pretty much it. Once again, for all of us on social media, if you missed out from earlier this morning, we did our Traders Talk workshop exclusively. Well, not exclusively, actually. We normally do it exclusively on Insider Live Trading Room. We did it on YouTube, but you can go right back on our YouTube channel. Just go right to the Cyber Trading University YouTube channel, and it's right there under the most recently recorded videos that you'll see there. Our Traders Talk weekly Q&A workshop, if you had missed out from earlier this morning, that's normally done live inside our trading room. If you wanted to join us inside our live trading room, just go right down to the link on the yellow banner below, just like I said from earlier. Otherwise, though, if you have any other questions or follow-ups from earlier this morning, feel more than free to send it on over to Josh at CTUtrading.com. For Lewis, Leda, John, Carol, Robert, Bev, and all of us just otherwise, I'll be back on the mic coming up right at 3:30 Eastern time to wrap things up for you heading into the market close. Talk to you then.
Become a Cyber Group member today. Just click the link below and receive all these amazing products and a world of knowledge for just $9.